Welcome to the land of Kakiak. My name is Laurel. It is my Saturday morning homeschool room check-in. I like to come in and kind of tidy things that I need to reset for the upcoming week. I also gather up my 8th graders to-do list and all of the kids' notebooks. Everybody has a notebook. My youngest has several. You'll see them. It's not too hard to manage because I mostly stay in control of them, but the other two only have one that I check. So I'm going to be checking their work for the week, recording it. I'm going to update my attendance tracker. I don't think I've actually done it so far this year, so I need to do some of that. And I like to flag any pages in their notebook that need attention. Sometimes it's just feedback. Sometimes they missed something completely, like they skipped something, or they need to redo something. They didn't quite do it right. So this is kind of my day to like reset. Quality control measures are in place, and I'm keeping on top of my record keeping and things like that. I also do a little bit of planning ahead, but I won't probably show that in this video. I just want to check attendance and record for today. All right, I got all of their notebooks. Things I know I'm gonna need to check. I'm gonna pull out their records. We'll start with Everett. This is usually the easiest. So I wanted to add something to his curriculum list for the year. So in a recent video I showed that I bought a bunch of Berean Builders science books that are for I think they say K through 5 or K through 6 or something. But then there's also this one that came after, and it was Science in the Atomic Age. And I talked to Everett about it. He's taking computer science at school. And then we had the Answers in Genesis, book 1 I was going to add to his reading list this year. But I showed him this, Science in the Atomic Age, and there's also an answer key that I bought that comes with it. But I wanted to add this book to his science curriculum this year, like actually have him just do it, mostly because I think he will enjoy it, honestly. Not because I feel like I had to do more science, I just felt like he would enjoy it. So what I've been thinking about all week is how to implement it. Like, do I have him do it? I'm gonna have him do it pretty much independently. He should be able just to read the book and do the experiments on his own and do a write-up on his own, and then I just basically want to check that he is doing it. But like, how often, how many days a week? Do I have him do it straight through? Do I alternate? In the past, when I've done science as a family subject or something that I was doing with one of the kids, like with me leading, I'd alternate between science units and history units back and forth. So I was considering doing that again, but I think it might just be simpler to we're doing the Good and the Beautiful year 3 currently, like the whole family, and to just, instead of doing unit by unit, switching back and forth, just to kind of blast through it. And then just when it's done, and then have Everett do this on his own. And he can do this, because if he started this like halfway through the year or so, since we school year round, he also has all summer. And I don't mind if he finishes it up at the beginning of next year. Like, I'm not super strict about like when things start and end. I know some people are like, well, don't worry about finishing stuff. I don't take that view. I am like, well, if we start it, we're going to finish it. I just don't worry about finishing it, like containing it within the school year. So if he only gets through 75% of this, maybe he gets through half of it during the school year this year, and then another quarter over the summer. If he spends the beginning of 9th grade finishing this course, is fine with me. So yeah, that's I'm not going to stress about, I don't stress too much about when things are finished, but we do finish them. I just wanted to get a feel for it. We do our book notes page in our notebooks. He knows those are things to define as he's reading. Here's another underlined one, theory, laying down the law. Scientific theories and laws can be wrong. Science cannot prove anything. Okay, and then there's a comprehension check. So I would like him to do the comprehension check at the end of his book notes. Probably, his book notes has a summary page. Let me show you. So whatever he's reading, look, there's a book notes journal page. It's like, I set it up to be kind of like the Cornell style, but he could do, instead of doing a summary, he could just do his answers to the comprehension checks in here for a science textbook. And then he could have been writing all his little definitions and things and interesting facts along the way, and then do that. And then I do have the key to check it. And then it gets down to the experiment, and then it gives instructions. So it looks like he'll need to have a separate notebook that will be like his lab notebook using that, but it tells them how to fill it out. Cool. I also have lab sheets that I pre-made to fill out. Okay. I like it. I like how the book is talking to the reader. Like it says, once you have finished your summary, there's one more section you need to add. Label this section conclusions. I like when the books talk directly to the reader. So chapter 1's pretty short. They said because it's the introduction, but then it gets into the actual like subject matter, and it's a little bit deeper. Cool. So yeah. I'm going to add science in the atomic age to his curriculum list. Put a little star next to it. So science in the atomic age. I showed him the book yesterday, and he really liked it. That's by Dr. J.L. Weil. And that's, Burian Builders. And I can go in and add that. I might go in and add that to my Homeschool Association page where I have to enter in all their stuff. Okay, I'm gonna put that back on my science shelf for now. So where is he? I marked my place. Oh yeah, I think I started it. So this week, okay, I already started filling out this one. I'm just gonna move my little marker over to next week so I can find my spot. All right, so I'm gonna record math, reading, writing, social studies. I say this is when I call it social studies because we're doing history, but we're also doing logic, which I was considering social studies. I didn't really know what else to put logic under. I could make it a totally separate subject. Yeah, I probably should do it. Okay, I'm gonna change this. Okay, so for social studies, okay, so we're actually doing history, and then we also have logic, which I'm just gonna consider that like a elective. And then I'm just gonna write down co-op homework just to record things that he got done. And I do know that he finished his Picasso piece. He had to color in a Picasso, like kind of like a coloring page. I remember he did that. Okay, so what I have, a couple things to look at are, this is his to-do list from this week that he's been checking off. And I like to fill this out for him. As I do this, it kind of helps us both keep an eye on where he is. So for Thursdays, it's a co-op day. So all I put on Thursday is co-op debrief. So when we come home, we've been trying to establish the routine of all the boys, we come home, we put away our lunch stuff, and then we all pull out all their binders, and we 3-hole punch anything that was given to them that was loose and put it into the correct tab in their binder, and then we go over, is there any homework this week? So the 2 younger boys haven't had anything so far, but Everett has had several things. So we just go through that and we just we have him grab we grabbed this during his to-do list during the debrief. So like this week he had something that he needed to study for his art class before next week. He has to, for his writing class that he's taking, he has to do his first final draft. And for art, he had 2 things. He also needed to finish a comic, like a little comic strip he needed to finish. And for geography, these are the pages he needed to study. So I just wrote them into his Saturday, Sunday. And basically so it's recorded, and then whatever, if he gets this stuff done over the weekend, great. If he doesn't, then he has to add it onto his to-do list on Monday morning. He has to look at this, and he's going to have to distribute out those tasks throughout the week, before Thursday, obviously, so he can get them done. So it looks like he didn't check off writing and rhetoric this day. And he hasn't done math or writing. I'm having him do those because I added writing and rhetoric to finish that. I'm trying to finish that course as fast as I can with him. I was expecting for it to be done over the summer before we started his new writing class that he's taking at co-op. But he's been at church all morning. This is Saturday morning. He's been at church all morning with my husband doing band stuff, like worship band stuff. So he hasn't checked those off yet. Okay, but I'm going to check everything else, just confirm that it was done. Yeah, I like to flag anything that isn't up to par. So I can get out my scissors and a notepad. Okay, so I have to go back to 9:9. Oh, I started something else new with him I was going to show you. I feel like I've showed it in previous videos, but we have never actually used it until now. So I'm going to show you really when we get to it. Oh, and it is this, the Vocabulary Builder Workbook. We use the RC vocabulary words when we are reading RC books because it makes sense to deepen your reading comprehension, to study words within the book that you're reading. But then we read so many off-list books. Sometimes I think I've showed you guys on vocabulary.com where I can find an alternate vocabulary list. Sometimes I substitute in, but sometimes there's not a vocabulary list for those books. They just aren't in that website, and I haven't read all of these books, and I don't have time to go through and hand pick a vocabulary list. So what I'm having him do is use, if there's not already an RC list, and if I haven't thought that it was important enough to make an alternate vocabulary list for an off-list book, then he is just working through this book. Again, we use, to save money, like a lot of consumable products like this, we use them like textbooks, and we just do the work in the notebook and we don't write in the book, but I'll show you what I mean when I get there. Okay, and then just in case I haven't starred anything. So yeah, like right now he's reading Murderous Maths, Easy Questions, Evil Answers. So this is his book notes and journal, and that would be something that I didn't have a vocab list for, and there wasn't anything on vocabulary.com for any of those books in that series. So he's working on his Vocabulary Builder Workbook while he's doing this. But I can record for his reading Murderous Maths plus book notes. Okay. So here's an example of his vocabulary work for that day. He's just focusing on 3 words at a time. It's lesson 3, day 2 from his Vocabulary Builder Workbook. So I'm going to use this to record that work. And I do that under reading. I'll say vocab. And I'll say vocab workbook to differentiate lesson 3, day 2. You can see I previously checked this and he had been missing something, so that's why there's pen on there. But now I'll go ahead and, so this is his writing and rhetoric. He's still working on, this is level 5, page 192 to 193. He did those exercises. So I'm sorry, exercises. And then math, that's weird. Math, where is this math from 9:9? It goes 9:10. Sometimes sometimes I think he might just forget to, because he does his math on IXL.com. He might be forgetting sometimes to document in his notebook. Because that says 9/6, but was that the wrong date? So I'm gonna go check. I'm gonna check in on the website itself and see if he actually didn't do his math. No, it says he did it. I think he just didn't document it. So IXL. He did 200 questions. He actually did a couple more than that. All right, for history, because there's not a history page in there, because we do history just all together as a family subject, we've just been recording what lesson we do here. So he did do The Good and the Beautiful, year 3, lesson 9. He did do that with us as a family. I could actually do this whole section really quick. For Tuesday, we did our read aloud, chapter 9, our history read aloud. Wednesday, we did lesson 10. Thursday, right, is co-op, so NA. And then Friday, we did history, lesson 11. And then logic. I don't think we actually did logic this week. Yeah, it's crossed off here and X'd off here. Yeah, we didn't, I don't think we got to it all week. I don't know, this week did feel kind of chaotic. I think it's because we had dentist appointments for the two oldest on Monday. I swear, just like one appointment just throws off my whole week, I swear. Because like you always miss something and then you're trying to decide if you push and make it up or if you just skip it this week, you know? And anyways, okay, next day it goes to Excel. So he says, yes, he did 200 questions, okay? And I did verify that, I just looked. Then on 9:10, he checked off that he did reading, but there's no book notes. There's nothing, okay. Again, every once in a while, he just gets off a day, like he skips something. No, it's 9:11. I don't know why there's no. All right, this would be something I'd ask him about. I'll have to have a conversation. Like, why is there nothing logged for your reading? Like, you checked off that you did it, but there's, like, did you do it? You read, but you just forgot to do your book notes, or like what's happening? In his defense, I will say that the books he's currently reading, he's reading that whole Murderous Math series. It's not just one continuous story or something. So the nonfiction books can I think kind of be more difficult to summarize or kind of conceptualize like what all the main takeaways were, especially it's on a subject like math. It's kind of different is all I'm saying. So all right, that's flagged. And then vocabulary, he did activity 3 from lesson 3, day 3. So I will put that for vocab. For writing and rhetoric, looks like he did page 195. And he says, we made a note, left early for trail. Oh yeah, we left early that day. So his writing time got short, but he did do a little bit. Writing and rhetoric, 5, page 195. Say X for exercises. Okay, and then math, he did do it, so you just star that. All right, so he did. Oh, did he say what he covered? I do like to write that down. So he covered decimals and place value last time. Okay. He was doing that for ages. Okay, and then on Wednesday, he only wrote 100. Let me confirm. I thought they all looked like he had done his 200 questions. So he did 210 questions on the 13th, it's yesterday, 119 on the 12th. So on the 10th, he did 200. Okay. On the 11th, he did 206. So he went a little bit, he did a couple extra. Fractions and division. Okay, 9/11, he did some notes, I guess. Did his reading, 9/11 to 24. This is on the 11th, his reading. Say murderous math, easy questions, evil answers. Page 84 to 126. 84. So he must have read from page. So he did. I can tell he read murderous math, easy questions, evil answers. He must have read from page 55 to 83 or something. So he did read something, but there's no book notes. I think I might write that down for him. Might just write, he's missing your book notes. Murderous math. Okay. So on 9/11, I need to check his vocab. Math, reading, vocab. Okay, he didn't tell me what lesson it was. This is all the stuff we have to like trying to train him to do. So nemesis, platonic, and thespian. What are those from? That is from lesson 4. What was lesson 4? Looks like day 1. It takes multiple days to get through a lesson if you're only doing 3 words at a time and you're doing all the parts I want him to do. So I want him to write the word, the definition, and the word parts, what the meanings of the word are. He has a hard time with this. Remember seeing that like ick is a suffix. Thesp, Ian, I think is a suffix. So he's supposed to be looking these up in an etymology dictionary. I've got a dictionary for him, like a hard one, an app. He can also look these words up online, but we're looking for the morphemes. We're looking for the individual units of meaning in the words. So this particular lesson, I believe was about words based off of names, like specific people, or, you know, like this one, like Nemesis is the Greek goddess of vengeance, like that was her name. Personification of divine wrath, from Greek nemesis, means just, indignation, righteous anger. Literally, it means distribution of what is due. It means of what is due. At least that I would want to say, like, I would like want that noted, like Greek goddess of vengeance. It means of what is due. It's from Nem. I don't know why he wrote one. Nem means, it specifically says, Nem means assign, allot, take. It says in here the notion is divine allotment to everyone of his share of fortune, good or bad. So nemesis, like getting what you deserve, right? That's what your nemesis is trying to do to you. And that we see that as a negative, right? Working towards your downfall. So yeah, he needs to look back on this. I'm giving it a star, because I'm not gonna do anything, but I'm gonna flag it so that we can talk about it. And I was looking that information up on etymonline.com, ETYMON online.com. Okay, writing and rhetoric. So his vocab, what did I say it was? It was lesson 4, day 1. Okay, writing and rhetoric, page 196 through 197. Okay, exercises. It looks like he stopped because it was the end of a lesson. So usually if if you get to where it's the end of a lesson, he can just stop for the day. If it can be a little bit short. Okay, so 9:13. Let's check math. Oh yeah, because we skipped all over because this is a co-op day. This day is so brutal. I think he actually did do math. But he just didn't write anything down. It says he did 119 questions this day. It looks like he only missed 2. So yeah, he was dividing fractions. So reading, he didn't have to do that this day. Well, I'll write down. So I know that he wrote his, I could do a star because it's co-op work, but I know he did his paragraph rough draft. I know he did that in class because I'm his teacher, so I saw him do it. Then Friday, actually did 210 questions. He said he did them on fraction division or dividing fractions. Okay, so reading looks good. He does forget to capitalize certain things in his title. I keep pointing it out. Sometimes I think this is a thing with like ADHD kids, is like they just don't remember. I feel like he just doesn't remember a lot of the stuff I tell him. Like he has to be told over and over and over and over to remember little things like that, like rules about how to capitalize titles correctly. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to keep reminding him. I don't know what else you can do. Easy questions, evil answers. He read page. See, he had 126. Maybe I must have read him as 120 because he has 120 to 159. plus book notes. He is forgetting to write this part. So he's on Spartan. That would be lesson 4, day 2. I'm gonna flag this page. I'm gonna have him, whenever I make these flags, I always sit down with him and go over the pages real quick. But we're gonna write on here, I want him to go to etimonline.com and to read the sections and to take notes, like I showed him on the other page. Because they seem to be explaining these types of words well. But I'm still gonna record that he did it. Day 2. Okay, writing. It looks like he didn't do a lot of writing, but I have a feeling for this day that this was a lesson that had a lot of reading, because these are like reading response questions. It says read Pirate Woman. He like checked it off. Mary Read is the main character. Okay, where's your period? The main event was when she dueled. Okay, got it there. This takes place in England. Where's the period? 1700s. Okay, that's not a complete sentence. I think the author wrote this to teach about Mary Read. Yeah, she was pretty audacious woman. I'm gonna write here, rewrite in a complete sentence. So yeah, I do require answering incomplete sentences. It just needs to be a habit. Like it's something I kind of am a stickler on starting in like elementary school. It's like when you respond to a question, I do want to see a complete sentence. But I'm gonna go ahead and record it. Writing and rhetoric. So looks like page 199 to 206. And then there was reading response questions. Okay, I think that's the end of this week. Yeah, there's really nothing for me to plan forward. You should be able to, I'm trying not to do too much like writing in even what to do on there for him, because I want him to remember it for himself. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 flags. So today, right, I'm gonna write in, he has to do his normal math. He needs to do some writing and rhetoric with me. This is his co-op work, but he's gotta do notebook flags. And that actually has to be his number 1 thing that he does, notebook flags, then math, then writing. Then he can do his geography study 5, 6, 7. I'm putting those in order for him to do. Okay, so besides that, I'm just gonna write in his next week's to-do real quick for him. Okay, 8th grader is checked and planned for. He does still have a few things to finish for his weekend. Okay, I'm gonna put his pile out of the way. All right, next is William. So I know for him, I know that I'll need his McGuffey reader so I can plan ahead for him for the week, and his notebook. So 9, 8, so we're starting on 9, 9, 9, 10, 9, 11, 9, 12, 9, 13, 9, 14, 9, 15. And Thursday is a co-op day, so I'm not asking anything of my 4th grader. Move this for next week. Oops, I need some more pages. Grade 4. Oops. Will. Grade 4. Okay, that's this week. Okay, so he has every day math, reading, writing. I was thinking, writing, I feel like I might make it easier since I have separate pages, but to do, because he's doing grammar and spelling, separately. I feel like I could put them all under writing, but I could just go writing. Falls under both of those, or over both of those. So I know he definitely got behind this week. Okay, he's doing history right now. When I start doing, I think for him I was gonna have him just read the famous scientist things this year, but I may change that up for the Burian Builder for the first year. But I'm not doing a science yet, so I'm not gonna worry about it. He is taking zoology at co-op as well. Okay, so let me find 9. Yeah, he's home right now. He's playing outside, but I told him I had to go check his notebook, and anything that he didn't get done, he's gonna have to finish today. 9. Where are we? Back to 9. There's 9-6. Okay. So 9. I already checked that off. Okay, so he did do his McGuffey lesson 40. I'm just gonna leave it there. See, he covered the new words. He did everything. Okay. Then for grammar, he did a gentle grammar lesson 14. Easy peasy. Oh, so for reading, right, I do, this is guided, right? It's something that I typically am involved in that lesson. There's some days that I'm not much, but I mean, I'm always checking it. And then there is independent reading. He's just reading to himself a book. So right now he's in the Easy Peasy Reader lesson 137. And he's in Easy Peasy Reader 3. And then he did his spelling was lesson 14, day 7. On this day he doesn't say, he didn't write it down. He did the work, I see, but he didn't write down what page number he did, which is he's supposed to do. So I don't know what he did. I do know he says he got 10 out of 10. I don't know. Page, I don't know. 10 out of 10. He has to get an 85%, right? So I get that, figure from the Robinson curriculum. He has to get 85% or better on his math, or else he has to repeat it the next day. And he is doing 30 minutes of math right now. He sets his timer for 30 minutes. He gets as far as he can. When it goes off, if he's like in the middle of a section, I told him to go ahead and finish to the end of that section. Sometimes you're in the middle of a problem set. I was like, just finish it. Then he corrects it. And I'm going to do a video soon because I got him a new math book. I've got the Study Arithmetics. He's in book 3. And the keys for it. I got that too, figured out. Yeah, it's really helpful for me. Okay, 9, 10. And then history. Oh yeah, I have to write down because I always write it down on here. So for history, for Monday we did lesson 9. Oops, not 19. Lesson 9. We did the read aloud, chapter 9. And then we did lesson 10. And then on Friday we did lesson 11. Okay, so he is still on lesson 40. Gentle grammar, lesson 15. Easy peasy, lesson 138. Okay. I'm just gonna flag this because he needs to see his errors. Oh yeah. This week, oh my gosh, I've just been fighting migraines. I was having such a hard time all week. I mean, I'm typically having a hard time with my migraines, but because I was sick the day that he should have started his spelling, and we always analyze the words together the first day, then I don't know if he did spelling at all week. So this should have been lesson, the last one was a test. He should be on lesson 15, day 1. So we'll flag that, we'll get to that. And then math, page 155. Oh, continued. That's okay. It was 155. He was on last time too. And then, but there was more. Okay, so page 155, and he got the 93%. So now we're on to Wednesday the 11th. Okay, still on McGuffey lesson 4. Lesson 40, I should say. Lesson 40. Gentle grammar. Lesson 16. Yes, the fruit trees are white with blossoms. There should be a comma here. Yes, cotton. In summer, the weather gets hot. Yes, the fields are covered with grass and flowers. That one looks good. Yes. Oh, gosh, the trees are in full leaf. Yes. The peaches and apples are ripening. He just forgot that comma on all of them. Yes, in autumn, the yellow corn is gathered up for its period. Yes. The frost changes the color, should be OR, color of leaves. Oh, no period. The November wind blows is not possessive. Blows the leaves off the trees. Yes. Thanksgiving should be capitalized. Comes one, he said once a year. That should be once a year. Okay. Well, okay. I'm gonna star it because he got it. He did do it, but we need to flag it so we can go review those. So easy peasy. Lesson 139. This chapter, Debbie was at the Peppers. Should be a Pepper's home, and then they started to smell something. He said burring. Burning. Period. Ran to the stove and opened. Okay, this should be opened, ED. It and there, and see, was a black CK loaf of bread. His handwriting looks good though. Okay, we're gonna have to go over those. Okay, this should be lesson 15. This should be day 2. He started doing something on here, but I was like, you can't do it if we haven't analyzed the words yet. Yeah, so he does do his spelling from his McGuffey spelling level. He's still in spelling level 3, which I finished that one up. We do them but we do all this activities on this page in the notebook, so I don't have to check something separate. I have to check it. I'll show you. I'll check it separate for my youngest. Here's an example. Like, see, like this is the pattern sort day, but we just do it all in here. There's one. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, that page isn't done. We've got to do that page. If we don't get to it this weekend, it's not a big deal. We might just do all these on Monday. But I do hate starting the week feeling like behind. Okay, so math lesson. What page was it, though? Well, if he got 12 out of 12, I mean, he got 100%, but I don't know on what pages. This was on the 11th page something. Okay, I'm gonna flag it because he's gonna have to figure out what page it was to tell me. And then we got to the 13th, and he's gotten himself a day behind this week. So, but he was actually at school. See, this is the thing. I have things assigned for certain days, but sometimes they're not done like until the next day, but it's got the previous day's date on it because sometimes he skips around. So I think I will have him finished because he needs to finish off his McGuffey lesson. for Friday. I'll need to do that one today, but I may just change all these other dates to and tell him not to worry about doing these other subjects like until Monday. So we'll change these to 16 instead of 13 because I don't want him to spend his entire, we already have to go over a couple things and I don't want him to spend his entire weekend doing schoolwork. Okay, another thing I need to do is I do need to check to plan his McGuffey reader, but I'm gonna do it later because I need to finish up the recording. So I'm just gonna put his to the side and I will plan his McGuffey reader lessons later. Okay, I've got my last little guy to check. My first grader. I have 2 notebooks, his language arts, his reading and writing, and then right now he's doing Bible, social studies, and math. And I check those, and I'm having him do his spelling in here. So I'm gonna just run through his spelling for the week and record that first. So let's go back to 9-9. Okay, 9-9. Did you only do that? Yeah. Okay. Lesson 3, day 1. Okay. And these are all, he's doing CVC words, basically, VC and CVC words are where most spelling lists start. And I was a little nervous that he wasn't going to understand the concept of a consonant and a vowel. I'm not going to show you where we've been working on it in his other notebook, but I just took some time to try to teach it to him. And now he's just seeing it. He's able to tell me the difference between which ones letters are consonants and which ones are vowels. And he's able to quickly spot that pattern. And I was so pleased. I was actually worried that would be too hard for him to remember or something. So I don't know, you might be thinking things are going to be too hard and your kids won't be able to learn them. And you might be surprised if you actually try to teach them some of that more technical stuff that they actually do learn it. I don't know. I was really pleasantly surprised. Okay, lesson 3, day 2 on 9-10. We did both those. Lesson 3, day 3. And then, this is a co-op day, so didn't do anything that day. And then, did we do spelling on Friday? Yes, we did lesson 3, day 4. Okay, so spelling's recorded. Okay, we'll do the everything else notebook first. I gotta go back to 9-9. Okay, 9-9. I think I already have that one entered. Yes. We're doing leading little ones to God that we did lesson 52. Okay, done. I did record his history. That's what he did for that day. And then he did his math. He did his review test, and I entered that in. Okay. There's his little test corrections. A Bible. So then he had leading little ones to God. Lesson 53, God's children love him. Okay. Then his history, we did our read aloud. We're reading Slave Boy in Judea, chapter 9. And we notebooked. This is the house of Simon the Tanner, who was he was a Bible character, but he's in the book that we're reading too. The main characters in the book are from the Bible. Okay, math, we did practice, we did difference of 5, warm up. I think that's all we did. Actually, I don't think we did anything out of the book. We just did our warm-up game. He won. And then I had him fill in the missing minuend. Difference of 5. Okay, next day. Leading little ones to God. Lesson 54. God's children love one another. I forgot to do our verse that day. Oops. That's Jesus washing the disciples' feet. Social studies, history. Okay, so we did lesson 10. Cyrus the Great. And we made a little just notebook. We did. Cyrus used camels to defeat horses in battle. Cyrus liberated the Hebrews from Babylon. That's his tomb. And that's an engraving of him. Okay, his math this day is page 180 to 181. And he got 24 out of 26. So I'm okay with him moving on. Let's look on the 13th. Okay, lead little ones to God, lesson 55. God's children trust him. For history, we did lesson 11. We learned about the Persian Empire. And then for math, we did page 181. And that, there really wasn't anything to grade. We just did that together. Page 181. All right. So next we're going to go over his reading and writing. This one I have to pay attention because since we stay on one McGuffey lesson for multiple days, I have to pay attention to my dates. 9, 10, wait, where's 9, 9, 9, 9, okay. So I have been working, you can see we've been working on vowels, right, and consonants. So I just like to document, every day that I spent on a lesson, like we did this page, and then anything like extra we do, like we did phonogram flashcards, I just will like make a note to myself that we did them that day, always under the date. I guess I was recording our spelling, which I don't really need to do since I just pulled it out of the book. Okay, but on line 9, we were on McGuffey, right? Primer, we're on lesson 17. On the next day, we were still there. McGuffey Primer, lesson 17. You can see we were still here on these days. I was doing multiple pages a day, but you can just tell. 9, 10, okay, and then on 9, 11, we're to lesson 18. We were really working on that E, making the G soft. But it was tricky because like in words like cage and stage, rage, wage, right? All those, the E has two purposes. It's softening the G and making the A long. We worked hard on that that day to get that concept straight. It was influencing two different letters. So 18, nothing on the 12th, on the 13th also. McGuffey Primer, lesson 18. And you can see we just did these, I only had them do one sentence here. We are moving away from tracing. So when I was doing copywork, I always started with trace work, right? And then I was having him trace and then I was taking my highlighter and making little lines to show him how much space he had to write the word he was copying. I'm trying to move away from that, and I'm trying to get him to space on his own, but I kind of sit there over him and say, like if the words are too far apart or too close or something like that, and try to coach him. So that's why we just do one. Right now we're just doing one sentence at a time, even though previously I've had him copying entire pages, but that's when he had my guided lines to see how much room he had. So now we're going back to just doing one sentence a day and just trying to get him to space it his own and do that mental judgment on his own. We're also, you can see me coaching him through, like if the A and the P and the E, like this all takes up the same amount of height in between here. So he had to redo some of these letters multiple times to try to get them at a uniform height. So those are things that I am now really focusing in on. So the copy work is getting harder as I am removing that scaffolding. But since we're still going to be doing this lesson, I will just keep this here, pick up where I left off. And then since those were the reading, so we just did, I'm gonna say copy work, right? And it's gonna be the same lesson 17. So 17, lesson 18, and lesson 18, since they are tied together. Okay, so he is all recorded. The only thing, I need to put more paper in his. The only thing I really need to do now is I'm behind on tracking attendance. So I'm gonna take some time to go make all my little dots. Okay, so Everett is going to be this color, William is this color, Bo is this color. Okay, we'll start with Everett. We'll do his attendance first. So I'm going to dot all the pages I have him recorded just being in school. And then I can total, like August, I can put his total day. I don't think, I haven't done this yet at all, so I need to catch up. So any day I have something recorded was a school day. So that means Everett for the month of August, 15, 16 days present. Okay, let's go for September. As far as we go right now. Okay, moving on. William is blue for me. So, okay, I've got him back to 8:19 is when he started. I should put these next to each one to remind me to do it. Kid to check attendance for is Beauregard. Okay, where did we start him? 8:19. So in August, Everett had 16 days, William had 8, and Bo had 7. And then we did pick out Everett from his reading log. He finished the 10 murderous maths books that we had that came in that set. He's been reading, he really liked them, and today we ordered him 3 more. Like there's like 3 more that go along with that line. And then we picked, I was gonna have him do the G.A. Henty book that kind of correlates with the history time that in geography that we're studying right now in The Good and the Beautiful, but I asked him if he wanted to do that next and pick out something a little off the RC list that's a little bit more, maybe less heavy and more enjoyable. So that's what we did. We picked Gulliver's Travels. And this is our reading list. I kind of combined the Easy Peasy readers and the RC list together because there's so much overlap. So Gulliver's Travels is on the RC list. It's book 65. It's in the 6th Easy Peasy reader. I know, even though he's in 8th grade, I don't really care if it's a 6th grade book. I think that 8th grade, actually, I think for what we've covered so far is great. It actually dovetailed really nicely with what we did this summer. We did is it from Master Books? I forget. Excellence in Writing. I forget. I think it's Excellence in Writing. But it's the teaching the classics, and it went over the elements of like book analysis, of character, setting, conflict, plot, themes. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. Anyways, it went over that stuff and how you draw that out. It was really neat. Oh, Everett, will you hand me your Easy Peasy reader? I'm going to show them real quick. So we actually just went over that, and we practiced that with some short stories. And it's actually something we're going to be doing during the year, this year in his writing class that I'm teaching through our co-op. So when I was looking at the Gulliver's Travels, and I bought I love the Easy Peasy readers because they have like multiple books within them, so they're really economical versus buying all those books individually. But they all have little reading activities like comprehension questions or like different things to go along with them, and they break up the reading into lessons. You can have them just do a lesson a day of the read, and then read like the chapter or whatever, and then do the follow-up activities with it. And then you don't have to worry about trying to come up with anything or them necessarily always having to do the same thing every single time, like always write a summary or something. It differentiates. It is actually teaching them some deeper like reading comprehension skills. So like today, lesson 29, I was finding the Gulliver's Travels. This is neat. Listen to what she says. She says, okay, read about some themes of the book Gulliver's Travels. So she's starting out by giving them the themes instead of expecting kids right away to tell you the theme of a book. She's giving it to him, so he already knows what the themes of the book are. She says individual versus the community, and then power versus ethics. And then she instructs the readers to make notes of where they see those themes in the book. They're supposed to write down the chapter in the, like I said, paragraph or something. And they're in his book notes page that I have set up for him. It works really perfectly. So, and it also says to take notes on new characters and settings. So that's 3 literary analysis topics right there. Yeah, I just really like that they gave them to them ahead of time and let them practice looking for them, so you kind of see what that looks like before you start asking them just to find it and tell you. So he did that actually today. We went over that together and took some notes on it. We made him a little bookmark that just reminded him of what the themes are and to note them and the characters and the setting. But like lesson 30 now, it'll say, read chapter 1, has it. It tells them the book is in 2 parts. It says list the new characters in his travels, list them, write a few words about each character and setting. And it says each time you read a chapter, tell someone about it. I have opted to have him just write me a quick summary, which is just the main events in order that they happened. To me, that's a summary, like no more than probably 5 sentences, right? And we already have a summary section set up on his book notes page. And then here's all the reading part. And they already know what to look for before they read. And it's not that far. It only goes to there. But I would say, it's pretty short, the reading section. You could probably do more than 1 in a day. Kind of depends on how much other stuff, like the fact that I have Everett read sometimes also, like we're also doing history as a separate subject or science, then I don't, like the RC method of having like 2 hours of reading, I figure between what he reads between history and science plus a book like this is going to equal 2 hours altogether. So to me, I don't worry about being like, okay, we have to do these extra subjects and you have to do 2 hours of reading in your RC book. Oh yeah, here's the little notebook I made him. Okay, so that's where he's gonna kick off tomorrow. Okay, so we've picked a new book. I have recorded. Everyone's up to date with their records. I have done the attendance, caught up to date. And it's the start of the new week. Bo, and he is in first grade. All right, I am ready to go. Ready for a fresh start for next week. Now I've just got to have kids go over all their flagged. Everett and William have some flagged pages to go over today, so they can do that and get themselves caught up so that they're not behind when they start next week. I hope you're caught up too. Happy homeschooling.